Hello guys, welcome back to the Forensic Detailing channel. Today I'm just going to talk about the rotary polisher a second, this little machine down here. Now, on my hood, I'm just going over it now and refining it. I have a slight milky haze in the clear coat, which you're going to struggle to see. I can only just see it in my eyes, but there's a slight milky haze there from the compounding. I've gone in kind of hard with the compounding and taken out sanding marks. Now, I wanted to talk about the rotary polisher and how you sort of go about using this. And it could end up being quite a long discussion, because how I'm going to use it now to polish and refine, if you like, this section of panel is slightly different to how I've been using it to cut out the sanding marks. With the sanding marks, if I just put this machine down, with the sanding marks, I've been using the purple, what's it called, flex pad with Koch Chemie H8, and I'll be working in a small section. I will put some of the compound down onto the panel, and then what I've been doing is just leaning in. So I'll pick up the polish, I'll just put a little bit of fresh polish very quickly over the section that I'm going to be working on, and then I've been leaning in. So if I just take this little diddy one, you can imagine this is a bigger polisher. I will lean in for the first set, and not just a little bit of pressure, and I'll overlap a lot closer together, because the area you're working is smaller when the thing isn't flat. And I'm actually going very slowly because I want to try and get maximum amount of sanding marks out in one pass. But I'm actually doing two passes, leaning over, obviously with a bigger pad, and then slowing the machine down, leveling it out, and then just working the abrasive till it starts to clear and sort of break down. And the sets are quite rapid actually. Then I polish down, have a quick look, make sure I've got enough of the sanding marks out, and then move on to the next section. And I've been working in smaller sections than you see here. That's actually a polishing section. Probably working in little sections like this when I'm cutting the sanding marks out, because if you try and go too fast, too quickly, moving the machine very fast, it's very easy to not be consistent. When you're taking out sanding marks all over the bonnet and you don't hit or work a particular panel enough, you'll just suddenly see a little patch of swirls there that you missed. You'll have like one bit where it's perfect and one bit where it's not so perfect. Very difficult to ever get that perfectly right, and you're always going to have to perhaps go again on little defects you see till you get it to a level that you're happy with. Now I am done with the cutting, and I'm just going to show you now how I'm going to polish this section, guys. So we're using M302, or you could use M201 finishing polish, whatever you want. And so I'm basically going to be, this has got a bit of cut, guys, and it's going to be taking out, it's going to be tidying up the panel, really bringing back gloss, taking away any of that milkiness, giving me a crystal clean finish. And then after I've done that, later on, maybe tomorrow or this evening, I'm going to go over it with the dual action polisher or the force rotation and this stuff for a very gentle final pass, which sounds crazy, but I just want to do it. And that final pass with Menzerner 3800 is only going to take, take me about half an hour to do quite rapidly. Anyway, let's get on to this rotary thing, guys. Now, the first thing is, it's quite important to understand where you've done and where you've polished, just so I can sort of go over where I've done, and I'm not, you just need to know where you finish. If you don't mark up, or you don't make a mental note, you're just guessing and you could miss bits. So I just use two little bits of tape, and I always have this kicking around or something kicking around just to give me a sort of area where I know I can roughly go up to. Some might not like to do that because you can blow that off the panel. Anyway, in terms of the polish, guys, you really do want to make sure that this is all shaken, yeah? Sorry, I've just plonked a bit on the car. You need to make sure this is shaken up, very important. So just give it a damn good shake. It's already been shaken. That just makes sure you've got a good mix of the abrasives. Now, the next thing is, what do you want to do with your polish? Do you want to put it down on the panel, or do you want to put it down on the pad? Now, you'll see most people saying you do not put polish on the pad or you'll splatter it absolutely everywhere, and you shouldn't use too much polish. Those things are absolutely true, guys, and what I'm going to show you here is I'm going to put too much polish on the pad, and I'm going to put it on the pad and not on the panel, and I'm going to show you how much sling and splatter you get. So does it matter what you do? In fact, we'll do a swirl of polish. That's probably way too much polish, guys. So this is the important thing, guys. Whenever you've got polish, whether it's on the panel or the pad, if there's excess polish on the pad and the pad isn't flat to the panel, that's going to splatter off and sling. So no matter where you put your polish, the first thing to do is to get the polish kind of embedded into the pad. The easiest way to do that is probably to put it down on a line or dots on the panel. But if you don't, and you want to do it this way, watch. All you got to do is make sure you put this down on the panel, and then at a low speed, fire up, and just work it. And again, I'm just going to turn it off so you can hear me. I've worked the polish over an area, so I've always got fresh polish. If I don't do that, even with the rotary, especially when you're cutting, it's less important when you're polishing because you're not taking off as much clear coat. When you're cutting, you're going to get a deterioration of how the thing actually cuts from where you start to where there's no polish. So I always find it's a good idea to spread polish. I'm not going to sling any product, guys, and I've put it on the pad. Whether you want to put it on the pad or the panel is up to you. I'm going to up my speed now to around about 1200, which will be fine. Notice we've got a big stonking pad on here, which are harder to control. I am going to be using this flat. I don't need to work the sort of an angle or tilt to get any more pressure. I just need to work this product. You could even slow down, guys. I suggest around speed 2, which is just close or above speed 2, 1000 RPMs is going to be fine. So let's work this before this polish dries up. And my line where I want to stop actually is this fold in the bonnet. So let's go. Going to stop a second. Now, that is kind of one pass, if you like. Now you could, if you want to get accurate kind of coverage on a panel, which might be important, you could go crosshatch. I'm just telling you now, putting this machine that way and this way, it's going to be more difficult to control than just going left or right, but it's going to give me better kind of coverage. So I'm going to crosshatch this, guys. So just have a watch, and I'm not going to hold this machine. I'm not holding it really tightly, I'm just gripping it loosely and just keeping it balanced on the panel, and that's going to help control it, okay? Do one more pass, then we're done. That is it, guys. There's not been a single bit of sling. There's not been a single bit of dust. As I continue to use this product and work my way around the car, I have to, after each set, go out and try and scrub as much of this polish out of the pad as I can, and ideally I want to take that outside and do that, because it just builds up dust everywhere that you don't even see unless there's heavy light going through where you're clearing the dust off. Then you'll suddenly see it flying off everywhere. You really want to do that outside. Sometimes I don't. That's what I'm saying, you really want to. I'm sort of teaching myself. Okay, let's just have a look at what's going on here, guys. So you can see, obviously we've still got a polish there. All I'm looking for really is for that polish to disappear and just kind of break down, and then it's ready. So if we just polish this off, see, I'm just going to go gently. This paint is so hard. I started off using these, which is what I usually use for polish, but the paint is so hard, there's no risk of scratching it with the microfiber. And when I was doing the front, with all the little dinks that are in the front, a fluffy cloth can catch a little bit more. So I switched over to using these, and I haven't gone back. I should really go back to my yellows, but these are great. So as you can see here, guys, what we've got, I don't know how well you can see this. You can probably see that this low light's actually better for showing if you've missed all the sanding marks. That's what I'm noticing. But if you really want to see the paintwork, this inspection torch has just been absolutely phenomenal. We've got pretty good paint here, guys. There's a bit of grease still on that panel, so I'd need to do a little wipe down with a IPA or some Geon Prep or whatever. Which I will do at some point. I'm just showing you. And the paintwork, this is all, that's still polishing oil all over here, so we've got to wipe. Let's hold that up here. We've got to wipe that all down properly, and then we get, well, this is the center of where we polished here. So the paintwork's, let's get this in. The paintwork is now starting to look fantastic. Hope you can see that kind of clarity in the paint. Really pleased with it now. And if you do that over the entire car, it is just going to look phenomenal. So that is how I am using the Rotary at the moment to polish this. And like I say, I'll use it slightly differently to compound it. I won't always do it slightly differently to compound it. The only reason I'm doing it that way is because I need to get out some deeper, not deeper, but I've got sandy marks everywhere. So the best thing to do is go even smaller, in my opinion, with where you're polishing, and really just take your time with that compounding to hit everything. Or else if I try and put on a massive 160mm pad, and fly over and compound quickly, I'm not going to be consistent. So I don't know, I just think you've got to go slow. That's it, guys, really. Enjoying this bonnet. So that's it, guys. The Rotary Polisher, fantastic tool. Yes, there's some additional risks. That extra capability there, you have to kind of build up to it. When you start with the free spinning and the forced rotation, there are less things. Even if you crank them up on turbo ludicrous mode, they're still relatively safe, and you're not going to overheat paintwork and stuff like that. Do the opposite with the Rotary, crank it up to ludicrous turbo mode, you can end up doing a lot of damage and stuff like that. There's some of the scare stories are right, but quite simply, if you use them at low speeds for a long time and just get comfortable with balancing the machine and using them without throwing stuff all around, you'll start discovering that it will enable you to really work the paint and work more out of compounds and cut faster when you need to, even at lower speeds. And then when you get there, that won't take you long to get there, you know, you will perhaps even start to favour the Rotaries. None of that wobble, none of that vibration, just really nice machines to use. That's it, guys. So very quick video, well, not that quick. Great to see you as always. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts on the Rotary polishers and all this sort of stuff, and I will see you soon on the Forensics Detailing channel. Bye for now. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell button.
Holding on to what I knew, but the moment's gone. Where was I when